Hey guys, happy Wednesday. It is Hump Wednesday, the middle of the week, and we are continuing learning about genres. Congratulations to those people who got a 100% on your exit ticket for Wild Wednesday. Let's go ahead and begin. Today we're still working on genres, except I'm going to be introducing two more fictional genres to you today, which is science fiction and mysteries. Okay, but we're still going to be still going over realistic fiction, historical fiction, and fantasy. So all of those are going to be lumped in together. Okay. If you haven't done your PDN, you can go ahead and pause the video right now and get started. If you have, then we can go ahead and begin together. Okay, so you were supposed to read the passages below and answer the following question. So it says the question, which of the following is a true statement from the short passage? So we have to figure out which of these statements are true from this passage. So it says one difference between insects and other animals is the number of legs. Only insects. So I know that legs, of course, is the topic, right? We're talking about the number of legs. Only insects have 6 legs in the entire animal kingdom. Adult insects have 4 wings and 2 antennas on their heads. So I have to figure out which of these is true. A, spiders have wings, therefore they are insects. This doesn't even mention spiders, even though they're insects, but it doesn't specifically talk about spiders, so we know that we can't X out A or eliminate A. Another thing that I can eliminate is another thing that I can eliminate is B, because all animals are not insects. Like, that is not what the passage is talking about. And we know just from using our schema that all animals are not insects, okay? So we're between C and D. Insects are only found in North America, or a grasshopper is an insect. So this passage doesn't even mention where insects are found. We know that insects are all over the world, so we can eliminate C. And then just from reading D, I know that a grasshopper is an insect. One, because it has legs, and I just know from using my schema that grasshoppers are insects, and so that statement must be true just from reading the passage, okay? Let's move on to number 2. We're going to go to the question first just because I don't want to spend time just reading the whole passage and not knowing what the question says. So the second question is talking about what is the theme of the passage. That means what lesson does the author want you to know just from reading this passage. So it says there was a big test in science that morning. So I know that morning is the setting, because we know that setting is where and when. And Peyton, which is a character, forgot to study. So this is the problem, because he forgot to study. The class had known about the upcoming exam for weeks, but Peyton wanted to spend his time watching television and playing touch football with his cousins after school. He was planning to study the night before, but he completely forgot before he got so wrapped up in an educational movie on television. That morning, as he entered the classroom, he felt sick. What was he going to do? He walked across the room at his friend Shelley. She had a delightful smile on her face and looked completely confident. Peyton knew she had been studying for this test for weeks, and she was going to do very well. That actually should have said that Shelley knew that she had been studying for the test for weeks and that she was going to do very well. And so what is the lesson that Peyton learns in this story? Because Peyton is the main character. A, playing football is a good pastime. B, preparation is the key to confidence. C, watching television is a waste of time. Definitely not the waste that should be. So I'll change that. D, everyone can be forgetful at times. So when I'm thinking about the lesson that Peyton learned is that he should have studied for the test in order to be confident that he was going to get a good grade. And so studying is a part of being prepared for class. And so the lesson or the theme here would be B, right? That preparation is definitely the key to being confident, because Shelly was confident because she studied. So let's continue. So the question, why did Doug's father make this joke? So apparently Doug's father made a joke in the passage, and we have to figure out why. Doug was 5 years old. So this is the character, and they're explaining. And just learning to ride his bike, he was off to a great start, but then he lost his balance and crashed onto the grass. So we know that here is the problem, right? He was not hurt, but he started to cry because it scared him. His father ran to his side and checked to make sure he was okay. Then his father laughed and said, "It's a good thing you didn't hurt my grass." So why did the father make this joke? In my mind, just from using my schema and thinking about what the problem was, his father probably made this joke to make Doug feel better, right? And I can make that inference based on what the problem was and based on my schema. Okay, and so A would be our choice, to make Doug laugh and to make him feel better. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue with our vocab work. We're still working on Latin, Greek, and Latin roots. And so therm is our Latin root, which means heat. And then meter is definitely used for measurement. Okay. And so when we put those two together, it creates the word thermometer. And so the O is just added to bridge those two words together. And so a thermometer is a tool used to measure heat. Okay. So notice how we put those two definitions together to create the definition for the new word. And so I'm going to go ahead and use it in a sentence. People often use thermometers to check their temperature. Okay. All right, so we're going to skip the synonyms and antonyms, and we're going to go straight to the image. How do you know that this image shows a thermometer? So when I look at the image, it shows like different percentages, and I know that when the thermometer is high, that basically means like heat. The heat is rising, right? And so I know that this is a thermometer because it shows a tool used to measure heat. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and continue with our board equals paper. So guys, we know we've been talking about this for 2 days so far, and so we know that there are two main types of genres, right? This is something that we talked about. Okay, and so the two main types of genres we know are fiction not sure why that's not highlighting. And then nonfiction. Okay. And so we know that fiction is when it's not real, and nonfiction is when it is real, true facts. Okay. And then we talked about how there are basically several subgenres that fall under these two categories. And so we're adding two categories here. The first one is science fiction. Science fiction is a type of fiction that uses science and technology. Okay. And so science is basically, when you think about the animals, when you think about time capsules and, computers and different things that are used in the science genre, okay? And so here we have these are the same two examples that we use for realistic fiction and fantasy. And so when we think further into fantasy, we think about which one of these statements describe a science fiction text. And so when I think about that, I think of A, because usually in a science fiction movie, sometimes you're going to have like aliens and zombies and, things from outer space, right? Okay. Then we talk about another genre, which is mysteries, and I love mysteries. Mysteries are a type of fiction that uses clues and purposefully puts the solution at the end of the text. Okay. So throughout the book of a mystery, the author is going to give you different clues so that you can try to solve it. And then they're going to finally tell you what happened at the end. Okay. And so when we think of a mystery, it says A, once upon a time there were three little pigs. That's more so of a fantasy or a fairy tale than a mystery. And then B, the little girl heard a squeak outside of her room. Who could it be? If only she had the courage to open the door. So this is a mystery because one, the author doesn't tell us who that is that's knocking at the door, and the girl seems really scared. Okay. Cool. So let's go ahead and move on to our model. Uh, we're gonna move on to our model. And so this is basically what we've been doing since the beginning. We're going to read the passage and we're going to figure out, is it realistic fiction, science fiction, or mystery? Okay. And we're going to pick out the clues that helps us know this. So, one, the hard way out. In this novel, Brian struggles with living at his aunt's house. So, he's living at his aunt's house. We know that this is real life. A lot of us can live at our aunt's house. I'm not sure what happened there, guys. I'm sorry for the mix up. Let me go ahead. Okay. And so we know that this is true, right? Somebody can really live at their aunt's house, right? And sharing a room with his cousin while dealing with the grief of having lost both of his parents. And so he lost both of his parents in a tragic car accident. Guys, this is something that could definitely happen in real life. Basketball is his only escape, and so he plays basketball. That's something real. But after getting benched for low progress report grades, Brian's world shatters. Does he have it in him to turn around his grades? Will Brian come to peace with his emotions? Can anyone help him? And so I honestly think this must be, first of all, let's eliminate what's not right. I know it's not a mystery because the author is not really giving us any clues as to what happened or what didn't happen. The author pretty much tells us. And then I know that it's not science fiction because it's not really talking about technology or anything out of space or anything that's dealing with science. So I know that this is realistic fiction because all of these things can happen in real life. Okay, let's continue with number 2. After a mostly unsuccessful life of studying and practicing the nanotransportation sciences. So first of all, it gives you a clue here because it says sciences, right? Professor Melton stumbles upon a major breakthrough on April 20th, 2042. So April 20th, 2042 is the future. And we know that usually things that happen in the future are like from science, right? He discovers a way to transport particles at light speed across fixed distances, thereby allowing him to teleport from one location to another. But Professor Milton soon discovers that there is no such thing as a free lunch. He learns that the body ages relative to the distance traveled, not just the time and effect, causing